We really need to figure out a way to change the way people think about homelessness. People think about homelessness in that traditional sense of people lose their housing and they go to emergency shelter.
When we try for something, we have a lot of support. Even if I don't feel like I have a lot of support, I generally have support in my life. And what really separates a homeless person from kind of anyone else is not just the lack of home, is the lack of support. And so that's where Homeward Bound is successful, is because we provide support.
What I think makes Homeward Bound different is that we see homelessness as an issue of social justice, and the work that we do is not about charity.
We know in our community we can end homelessness if we just place people in permanent housing. You know, it seems pretty obvious, doesn't it, that if you want to end homelessness, you put them in housing, not in emergency shelter. But that's not how people usually think about homeless services. For somebody to be homeless in our community for a full year, it costs about $23,000 to be homeless. If we pay all of their rent, all of their utilities, and the case management for a single person to go into housing, it costs $10,000 a year.
One of the pieces that makes us really different from a lot of other places is that we don't require very much from folks who come in here. Unlike overnight shelters that require you to have an ID and they require you to be sober, for safety reasons, we don't require those things for folks.
And what we find is after they have a little time in housing, then they're much more apt to start working on those major issues like their mental illness or their addiction issues than they are before. And we do things differently because we don't require them to already be receiving treatment for their mental health issues. We don't require them to be clean and sober. We place people where they are into housing and we provide them those services. Since we started our supportive housing program in late 2006, we've moved 405 people in with an 89% retention rate.
For me, that's just been really exciting to work for an organization that isn't just about giving help, but is really about moving people from the place where they're at to a better place.
I really enjoyed being part of this organization that's constantly growing and changing and working to make sustainable change in the community.
We've seen a reduction in our chronic, those long-term homeless folks. We've seen a reduction of over 75% in our community. So we know it can work. It is about resources. There has to be a shift in that thought that emergency shelter is not the end.
I feel like our job here is to hold the hope when they can't hold it themselves. So that's what we do.